They want to get it, but their script, which we're going to explain, will be getting in the way and say, well, this isn't for you. This isn't. The fact that it's helped, you know, all the people that was on the screen there a while ago, all the people that are in the room. Oh, let's do this. It's spontaneity. This will get a few people's hearts going, right? I'm going to count to 10, right? I've never done this before, not like this, not 10, right? And what I want is everyone that's done BC, just so you can see, you've got to be on the stage by the time I finish 10, right? If you've done it. Don't sit there. If you sit there, I'm going to get you up and make you speak. So I'll start counting now. Go. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Someone's going to have to speak if I don't get on here. 8, 9. It's just 10. There you go. See, we're not all nutters. That's all I wanted to say. You can get down now. I should have got a photo. Should we do it again at the end of the day? We get a photo. You all right, Jim? How are you, buddy? I didn't know I was going to do that. I don't know why I did it. So what BCism? What isn't it? I got it here somewhere. I think. Here it is. What BC isn't? It isn't NLP. We're not knocking NLP. I say half the people that do our course have done some kind of NLP training. For those that you don't know, you'll have to ask someone that's done it, because I haven't done NLP. Liz has, and she'll be speaking. So it is, but this isn't NLP. It isn't personal development. Personal development is very well-meaning, right? But let me ask you this. How many people do you know that have done loads of personal development? They've listened to all the CDs, right? They've been to all the talks, they've read all the books, and they're more screwed up than ever. There's loads of them, isn't there? We get them on, they analyse. Because, no, isn't this a what? Or isn't it? They go, no, it's not. It's none of those things. So it isn't personal development, because personal development told me this. All well-intentioned, personal development said to me, you choose to be happy or you choose to be sad. So what did we do? We did the say, choose to be happy. You know, I'm going to be happy. I'm going to be happy. I'm going to be happy. And then someone gives you a phone call that you don't want to know. I'm going to be happy. I'm going to be happy. And it lasted for about 20 minutes. That's all. In fact, shall I do my standing on the chair bit? Shall I do that? Because let me give you an example. This is how it used to work. We've got a spare chair. Right. This is, and if you don't laugh at this anyway, you're mad, because it is very, but don't do this. Don't do it, I'm going to say. So what they used to say, everyone on your chairs, don't do it. Everyone would get up and you say, how you doing? And you go, all right. Oh, really good. You say, no, give it a bit more passion. How are you really doing? Come on, man. Really, really good. And you say, no, a bit more, louder. Come on, give me a 10 out of 10. You go, 10, louder, 10. And your eyeballs are standing out. Your hands, you go, 10, like that. Give the person that way, 10. And 10, and behind you, 10. And you're pumped up and you're vain. You're never going to be down again. No, you're always going to be up. Yeah, you're like, whoa, nothing ever again. And you go outside and everyone's the same. You go, yeah, give me 10. And you go out and your car's got to punch you and you go, oh, shit. I rest my case. That's hype. That's not what we're about today. There's not going to be the big hype and the rah, rah, rah thing. Listen, watch this. It's amazing. Honestly, this is amazing, what I'm going to share with you now. It's simple, but it's amazing. Look, there's happy, there's sad, right? If you could choose happy or sad, if you could choose, what would you choose? Happy every time. Everyone in the room would. Never. We could do it over and over again for the rest of it. There's happy, there's sad. Well, if I could choose, I'd choose happy. So when you're doing sad or unhappy, it's okay. I do it. I still do it. Everybody does it. But it just means you're not choosing. And I'm going to tell you in a while what is. That's why, since we've been doing BC, that's what's so different about it. But personal development has told me, no, you are choosing. So you do the course, you spend a fortune, you find you're unhappy again, they said, well, you're choosing, so you feel worse now than what you did before. Now you think you're really screwed up. You know, I've just spent 500 quid on that course or 2 grand on that one, and I feel just the same because we're measuring our life by how happy we are. What if that's wrong? What if it's okay to be unhappy? See, what personal development did for me and others, it made it not all right to be not all right. You've got to be happy. You've got to be positive. So do you know what that looks like? Do you know what it feels like? Pressure. So you're under pressure to be up there. How can you stand on a stage and do a tour? You know, when I had a bit of a wobbly the other night. I shouted at someone or whatever, and I do all those things. I get down, I do things, sometimes I lose my temper, and you've got to know that because I'm real. You know, don't go, I say to the guys who've done BC, don't go putting me on a pedestal and then push me off. Yeah, I've got access to genius. And you think, what are you talking about? You've got access to genius because actually, intellectually, I'm thick. I am thick, really. I've got no qualifications at all. I was in the bottom stream at school when I thought no level was a blood group. I'm not joking with that bit, but I can't. Do you know what it is? I don't store information. I don't remember things. And that's what most of formal education is based on, you being able to repeat information back. Well, I'm not very good at that, so I didn't got any exams or qualifications. Yeah, and if we've got time today, I know a place like a website where you can access genius, because BC is genius, but it's not who I am. I'm not the genius. I'm thick, and it sounds like a contradiction, and it's so exciting. But what we're doing is saying, look, if we can do it, so can you. Not like, come and listen to us all the time. What about you? What we want is teachers. You know the old saying, and it used to be, when the student is ready, the teacher will appear. Do you know what we say to that? Bollocks. Double L. See, I can spell that. What we say is, when the student is really ready, they become the teacher. And you think, well, I don't know enough. Like, you don't know enough to do what I'm doing. Oh, yeah, you do. You might not be using it, but you know enough. Intellectually, you've got it. You want to hear my story? Well, you met me loads of times, Jeff. No, Jeff wants to hear my story a bit first, because what my script says to me sometimes, all the guys have heard it loads of times. So, all right then, I'll jump straight in with my story, which was sort of touching on it there. 0 qualifications. I was born sensitive. I know that now. I don't believe, for kids these days, and for adults, there is no outlet for sensitivity. There's no real good channel for it, and I was a sensitive kid. If you ask me, out of all those people that stood on the stage, what's the common thing that they've all got? They've got a high degree of sensitivity. They're in touch with it. And that's why, if you look at illegal at the moment, drugs where they are, if you look at prescribed drugs, they're right up here. They're much higher. And a lot of that is because sensitive people are trying to suppress that sensitivity. And so they go to the doctors and they give them tablets and things. But I'll tell you more about that in a minute. So I was born sensitive, and my mum, she moved to England from India in 1947. She was born in India. She met my dad there. And when India got independence, they came to this country. I was born 2 years later. I was born in 1949, which means I'm 61 soon. And that's ridiculous. You know, I think people that are 40 are much older than me. It's really weird. I don't get it. I don't get my age, and I don't get that. I never got a lot of things that other people did. But do you know what? When I was a kid, everything just seemed too big. I don't know if you've ever felt like that. It seemed too big, too noisy, too much, the whole thing. And what I didn't realise with my mum, sometimes I'd go to hospital with her. I didn't know why she needed to go to hospital. And I'd sit outside this room, and my mum would go in, and she sort of looked all right. But when she come out, she didn't cry, but I could tell she'd been crying, and she was shaking. And this is one of the reasons that, you know what gets me on this stage? although I'm actually frightened of public speaking, you see, this is how it works for me, and this is how it can work for you. When you find a message that is greater than your fear, any fear, when you find a message that is greater than that fear, you instantly overcome it. And I'm going to share with you one of the things now that gets me to stand on a stage, and it's this. What I found out what they did with my mum, and they still do this now. They strapped my mum down. They put a rubber thing in her mouth to stop her swallowing her tongue, and they put electric currents through them. There's a name for this, some sort of electrical thing. It's supposed to help people with nervous disposition. They electrocute them. Because that's what it is. I know you might say, well, okay, that's fine. Perhaps in some way or whatever. Some people think no, and perhaps it does or whatever. But they electrocute people. Guys, isn't there got to be another way? Can you imagine if it was your son or your daughter that you were taking and you know that they were going in that room, they were going to strap your... That's what gets me to do this. There's another way. There is another way. We found another way. That's what gets me passionate. But I didn't know that then. I'm a kid. My mum's just come out there and I'm concerned for my mum. So what did I do? I picked up my mum's sensitivity, and I'm still sensitive. That can hurt sometimes. When you're sensitive, things get to you. When it's working in the positive mode, it's great. When it's negative, things get to me. But no one told me as a kid, no one did what I'm doing now. No one ever said to me, oh, you're just sensitive. That's what it is. Nobody ever said to me when I was a kid, that's a panic attack you're having. And this is what it would be like. I'd suddenly think I couldn't breathe. I'd feel it was just like someone had put a plastic bag over my head. And I couldn't breathe. And I can't breathe. I can't breathe. I'm dying. I'm only about 6. I'm 6, and this is happening. All it needed was someone to say to me, Richard, listen, you're having what they call a panic attack. Everything's fine. You see, I'm going to sit with you. You're probably going to think you're going to die or something. I'll hold your hand if you want, and you see what happens, and it will pass. All things will pass, you see. I promise you, you'll be all right. No one did that. So what do you do when you're a kid? You're having panic attacks. No one tells you it's a panic attack. So I thought I was going nuts. As a kid, I thought I was going crazy. That made me different. I couldn't go in assembly. So yeah, I know a little bit about loneliness. I know that I was the only kid in the whole school out of hundreds of kids that were sitting in the classroom while I was in assembly. Of course, all the kids were really sympathetic, an all-boys school back in the 60s. They said, oh, poor old Wilkins is sensitive. Yeah, right. Right, so I'm bullied at school, the whole thing. I was the only kid in school that couldn't swim because I'm terrified of water. Everything was so terrifying, it's so big. But now I do. See, what I've done, that's my research. That's my research. We sent out an email. It's the best response we've ever had to an email. A couple of years ago, it says, best job in the world, but you need qualifications. Here's the qualifications that you need. You need at least a couple of these. You need to have had self-doubt issues. You need to worry a lot. You need to have had challenges with relationships, financial issues. It was all those things. But you've had, everyone's had those sort of challenges, and hopefully some of you have still got them going on, because it's good to have some ongoing issues as well. They're the best teachers. You don't want me to stand up here and just to tell you a theory. You want to know that I've been through it, and that's why I'm telling you what's happened in my life. I've been to hell, and I know what rock bottom's like. I nearly killed myself later on in years, but it's just his sensitivity. No one's telling me. No one's telling me. I mean, what's depression? Why do you think there's so much Prozac and stuff out there? Do you know what it really is? It's suppression, not depression. An example. Imagine going to the doctor and you say, doctor, I'm getting these really bad headaches. And he says, yeah, when do you get them? And you say, every Saturday morning. He said, what, only every Saturday morning? He said, yep, only every Saturday morning I get them. He said, what do you do on Friday night? He said, oh, I drink 15 pints. You say, get out of here. What's the doctor going to give you for that? What would he give? Nothing. He said, don't be so stupid drinking 15 pints. It's called a hangover. That's what depression is. It's the same thing. Depression is the result of the suppression. It's not the depression. They're treating the wrong thing. They're treating the hangover. It's like giving you more aspirin for your hangover and says, stop drinking. And that's what's going on, because no one's making it all right to be not all right. Excuse me, we are.